Thank you for tuning into BloombergQuint. Joining us from the sidelines of the MK Confluence is Mr. Mahabaleshwara, MS, MD and CEO, Karnataka Bank. Thank you very much for taking the time out and speaking with BloombergQuint. I heard some of your statements from the 2020 vision that you made to the investors at the conference. For our viewers, can you highlight some of them, please?
See, KBL Vision 2020, it is a long-term growth strategy for Karnataka Bank. The thing is like this. See, we are in existence in the banking space for the last 93 years. One of the old generation, time-tested banks. But what's the guarantee that we would continue our existence for the next 100 years? So for that, we need to have a long-term plan. This 2020, in fact, it was launched in the year 2015, a 5 years growth plan. And I have plans beyond 2020 also. See, by 2024, we are celebrating our centenary year. So by that centenary year, when we are celebrating, whether we'll be in a position to emerge as a stronger bank, a bigger bank, a vibrant bank. So this is what is in store for us in that KBL Vision 2020. Yes, a lot of growth numbers, the business numbers have already been highlighted. And rather than the numbers, the quality is most important for us. See, how do we achieve that number? By keeping intact the quality. So that is all there in this KBL Vision 2020.
Your portfolio is more focused towards southern India, and some of those states have seen deficit in monsoon this year. Are you foreseeing any stress in the agri-related portfolio that you have in southern India?
Yes. See, the point is, even though we are originated from the southern states of Karnataka, we have a equally good presence in about 10 to 12 states mainly. And we have presence in 22 states and union territories. So the presence wise and from the point of the business wise, I have equally well distributions throughout India, and the pan-India presence is also there. Now what is happening is, on account of this good distribution across all the majority states, the risk is also distributed. So agriculture restructuring as per the regulator is one area. Even if you go for repeated restructure, it would not qualify for the NPA. Otherwise, the general advances would have that type of thing. So this type of dispensation is there. There is a tendency or early warning signal as far as the growing stress in the agricultural advances. But we have a seasoned play. We are a seasoned player of the agricultural advances management.
Coming to the internals, the earnings and the asset quality related to Karnataka Bank. Now, last 2-3 years, we have seen a dip in profits that is mostly on account of the stressed assets. When do you expect profits to return back to normalcy? And a word on the NPA cycle that you have?
Yeah, see, as far as Karnataka Bank is concerned, two things are very important. One is, we are one among the few banks who are well capitalized. My capital adequacy ratio is more than 13%. So I am not starving for the capital, number one. Number two, my NPAs, even though the GNPA is at around 4.3% and NNPA is slightly above 3%. So compared to the industry, it is very well within the tolerance limit. That doesn't mean that I'm having a complacent approach towards NPA, because I have my own standards. I have made it public that I am aiming for about 2% GNPA and 1% NNPA by 2020. And this is our vision. So now to bring back that quality in the advances portfolio, so what we are focusing is that totally try to minimize the further slippage and try to upgrade or to resolve the existing NPA portfolio, and in that process definitely you should be able to achieve this end result. And to improve the quality of the acquisition, I have put in more filters, in the sense the due diligence process is further strengthened. Now you know that there are good many number of banks, unfortunately, in the Indian banking sector are already under the PCA, prompt corrective action. So there are good customers in these banks who would like to switch to other banks, and I am also being these customers are also interested in my bank. So when that type of balance transfer happens from this type of banks to my bank, so we are very, very cautious and we are taking utmost precaution. That means at the entry level itself. The existing advances portfolio, the stress level, we have a systematic approach towards the stress. That means the early stages. I have three categories in the stress: S1, S2 and S3. In my bank, S1 is if the interest and installment is in default for the period of 1 day to 30 days. This is the early stage of the stress. So we will be focusing on that entry level itself. So gradually, if it is not able to recover in the S1 stage, what are all the hand-holding support that particular account request in S2 or S3, or eventually few accounts may slip to NPA also. But by that time, my team would be ready with the appropriate recovery action. So we have CRMD, that is the Credit Monitoring Department at the head office, which does follow up of this type of things, and the CRMTs at the regional office. And at the branch level, the ABMs and the branch managers and the credit officers are entrusted with this task. So now what is happening is I have given a target to all the branches. One is, yes, dues have to be recovered on or before the due date. So we have further strengthened the recovery mechanism. Second one is try to avoid or minimize the slippage. So for any reason, if you are not able to minimize, avoid the slippage on a day-to-day basis, on that particular day, please at least ensure that your recovery is higher than the slippage. So we have been able to live up to this expectation, especially during the M4 and M5 of the current year. And going forward, this type of approach in handling the stress portfolio is going to pay a rich dividend for us. So I am optimistic that the slippages would bound to come down. And that is why I am telling that I am aiming for 2% GNPA and 1% NNPA. Otherwise, it will become just a hollow promise. And we are really, focused on improving the asset quality. And as you rightly pointed out that in the past there were wide fluctuations, both in the net result as well as the NPA movement. So we are now migrating to a phase where we are now determined to give a consistent performance on a sustainable basis.
Sure. One last question. What kind of credit growth can we expect going into FY18?
See, for the first 4 months, I said the business philosophy for us during the current year is monthly target, daily generation of the business, and daily tracking of the business numbers. What I have introduced is inspired by 2020 match. So what is your required rate? What is your present scoring rate? And what is your asking rate? So convert these numbers into your business numbers. Say for example, if the SB accounts, if the required rate is 10 accounts per day, so whether you are living up to that, whether your daily onboarding of the customer is above 10 or below 10. If it is below 10, then your current scoring rate is below the required rate. Then actually your asking rate increases. So branch managers will get this type of information daily, and if that happens, then naturally they will be in a position to achieve their respective targets. In the credit also, for the first 4 months, I have been able to live up to this expectation. My M4 credit target, whatever that we had internally specified, we have been able to surpass that. And M5 we are going strong, and definitely M6 should give me a satisfactory growth. As far as the percentage is concerned, for the last 12 months, the year-on-year growth in the credit is at a rate of 12.9%. So I am optimistic that current year it could be somewhere around 15% plus. So if that happens, naturally my CD ratio would also improve, and which would help me in getting an increased NII. So if the NII increases, and with some the repositioning as far as the fee-based income, other things, naturally my NIM is bound to improve in the days to come.
Sure. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with BloombergQuint. Well, there you have the management of Karnataka Bank speaking to BloombergQuint. For more stories, you can log on to BloombergQuint.com. Thank you for tuning in.